in the game, all of that, we're sitting on the bench. Yeah. So like even like a day like today where it's cold, but it's not, it's not extremely cold. You gotta prepare for the idle time. That's been yeah. You never want to make a mistake on the first day, which I've done before.
All right, a lot is made of this Bears defense, but the offense not so bad. Trubisky's thrown 9 touchdowns in the last 2 games. How difficult is this offense?
Very difficult. I think you got a guy who's very athletic, accurate, knows how to run the offense, and then they have an offense with a lot of weapons. You talk about Cohen, you talk about Gabriel, you talk about Robinson, you talk about Burton. All of these guys are top, really top tier players that can play. So they do a great job if it's going vertical, throwing a shot, or if it's just throwing the ball 3 yards into space and making you tackle one of those guys that are really good in space. So the offense creates a lot of problems. I think we've seen that from watching film. I mean, 45 points against Tampa, back and forth against Miami last week. So it's definitely going to be a tough challenge.
What similarities do you see between this offense and Kansas City?
That Nagy was offensive coordinator last year. Um, I think they do some game plan things. So I think not just I think everyone assumes last week whatever bad happened, we'll see. But I think throughout our season in the first 5 games, anything that we haven't played well, we'll see that they might hit it in a different personnel group or different formation. But even last year playing against him in Kansas City, they do a good job of trying to create different matchups and things you just haven't handled and try to get to it a different way.
Are you at that point in the season where the film tells everything that everybody needs to see, like because you've played so many games where maybe you try to cover up some of the stuff that maybe you don't do as well because you know they're going to attack it?
Yeah, I think there's always some self scouting, but I think that starts for us even from game one. Like Bill's always telling us when we watch the film certain things, like even if it doesn't show up in the game, he'll tell us like this will come back up next week, and it usually does. So, um, now there's more. Obviously, there's more to see, but each game is like that in this league. We call it a copycat offense or copycat league, where all of the good coaches turn on your film. If you struggle with something, they usually have some type of concept already in their system that they can get to it. So that always shows up week in and week out. Yeah, we talked about that. Just getting out to a good start, especially on the road. Like we want to play like that, each week, and we've done that at home. But we've talked about that. We have a huge challenge this week of just playing well and trying to get a win on the road. We just haven't done it. And I think when you're on the road and you fall behind, now it's just the energy picks up. It's like everything's against you and you're just fighting uphill. So that's something we talked about, getting off to a fast start across the board, offense, defense, kicking game. So we feel like that's key for us if we want to go out there and play well in Chicago, is not falling behind, 14-3, 10-zip, and then just trying to play a whole different game. So we just need to focus and do that Sunday.
Devin, since you got into the league, do you think that the RPO has kind of taken off a little bit more playing another team this week that is an RPO heavy offense?
Yeah, I think offenses kind of always had some form of that, but I think even the outside world has now understood it more. I think before, if you saw a pass play, you was like, oh, they passed the ball. I think now people are able to see the run action up front with the pass. So you hear it talked about a lot more, and I think it is being called a little bit more.
Do you think there are any sort of advantage to playing that type of offense time and time again? It feels like Chicago and Miami and Kansas City.
It can, but it's not necessarily. Each offense is different. How a guy calls a game is different. How many actual RPO plays you get is different. So I think we've seen it a lot now. So I think there's some comfort with it. I think a little bit of the last year or 2 years, it's kind of been a new phrase that said, so it was a little adjusting to that. But each week, offenses do different things. I don't think if you play, good 1 week against an RPO team, that means you have it, locked down for the rest of the year. You just have to keep preparing for whatever that team does.
Chiefs were able to put together some big plays against you guys in the second half. What goes into the process of, I guess, just identifying what mistakes you made on those plays and making sure they don't repeat themselves this week?
Just watching and understanding, where we messed up. Was it a guy? Is it two guys? And fixing it. Like, hey, when we get this again, or if we get 4 other sets that can be similar to that, this is how we want to play it. And I think that's what we kind of talked about, just if it's this, then we got to do that. Like, we can't not, do one thing or another thing, or that will lead to the big play. And I think that's usually what it comes down to. It's either going to be one where we didn't take a guy when we need to take a guy, or stay, or a missed tackle. So I think we always try to watch those and fix them. And, this offense is the same way. If they kill you with a big play, it's gonna hurt, and they have a lot of guys that can do that, So we gotta, I think, do the same thing mentality-wise and not give up those big plays. We did it for a half last week. We gotta do that for 60 minutes.